Welcome to Voices, a televised production of the Atlantic Caribbean Union of Seventh-day Adventists. We proudly represent the islands of the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and Turks and Caicos Islands. Today's program has an emphasis on music. We would have learned thus far that music gets us in the mood for worship, but our educational institutions within this union have always recognized the importance of having music in the curriculum. And today's guest is one of our premier educators within the music world, Brother Nelson Bain. Brother Bain, welcome to Voices.
It's a delight to be here.
It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Wonderful. This is my favorite program for Friday nights.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I am so happy that you watch. I hope you encourage other people to watch as well.
My entire family.
Wonderful. So, you are here to tell us about music, but before that, there are persons who I am certain are watching who aren't that familiar with who you are. So please just share with us, who is Nelson Bain?
Nelson Bain, he is the husband of one wife.
Amen.
When God put us together, he knew what he was doing. I married the love of my life. Her name is Paula May Roca, formally, and then I gave her my name, Bain. Then we got our chromosomes together. She gave me 24, I gave her 24. And we got a wonderful, tall, handsome son by the name of Nelson Japheth Bain Jr.,
Oh, yes.
who is currently studying at Andrews University. He has completed 3 years, and now he will be completing 3 years, and next year he'll be graduating with a degree in airplane maintenance.
Wow.
I am also the music coordinator at the Grandstand Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's where I've always been all of my life there. I am also the music teacher at Bahamas Academy. Now at Bahamas Academy, I also serve in the capacity of program coordinator with 4 other persons working with me at the school. That's who Nelson Bain is. Apart from loving to read and train children to do their best in front of a camera or just in front of a crowd.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it is such a pleasure to now know all of who Nelson Bain is. Now, as I said, you're really here to deal with music. So why is music even a part of the curriculum at Bahamas Academy?
First of all, it's part of the accreditation request that music, along with Spanish and the other subjects, be a part of the curriculum. Music is one of the best outlets for children to express themselves. Like the birds in the morning, when you wake up, you hear them chirping. Once children love songs and they love to sing, they will just sing your little heart out.
Well, that's very true. So how important is music in children's lives? Of course, you just made mention that it's a positive outlet for them. Is there anything else, though?
Yes. If you were to go to church and there was to be no singing, what type of experience do you think you would have? At school, it's more than just academics in regards to maths, phonics, and PE. Music is another form of outlet for the children to develop, to become a well-rounded student.
Okay, that is positive, and that's something that I like. I particularly appreciated music. So can you give us possibly some examples of how music might have or has changed the lives of some of your students?
You know, at Bahamas Academy, students come from varied backgrounds. And as a teacher, I represent Jesus Christ in the front of them. So when I stand before them, I am totally representing Christ. And the aspect of Christ I'm representing is music. Students come to our school who don't go to church. So Bahamas Academy is their church, and my classroom is a sanctuary within the church where they can come and they can release themselves through singing.
So is music only confined to singing?
Oh, no. At Bahamas Academy, the children learn how to play the recorder. They learn how to, the education in music, which is, there's a vocabulary for every discipline. So kids have to learn to decipher certain symbols. And by deciphering these different symbols, they're able to play what the composer wanted an audience to hear.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now, what advice? I am certain that there are people who are watching who want their children to do well in learning to play an instrument or in learning to sing, as you would have made mention of. What advice would you give to them? What type of encouragement would you give to them, really?
You know, the multimedia out there has so many things to attract children, and it could be in the adverse way. But if a child is learning to play an instrument, it's going to take time. The child will have to have a good attitude towards that. It creates discipline. And to make the instrument play that like it should, it's going to take a lot of practice. So an hour each evening, a child disciplining himself to just sit down and learning to play an instrument. A piano has 88 keys. A keyboard has 66 keys. A recorder has a number of pitches. They start with one pitch and they go up to probably 12 or 14 pitches.
A recorder?
They have a recorder. They have to learn to play the recorder and learn how to bring out the notes for any particular song. So that takes discipline and decoding and a good attitude.
Okay, so if that's what the children have to deal with when they're learning how to play music, what then, or how then rather, can parents encourage this activity to happen in the first place?
I am so glad you asked that. Parents, they are the best motivators for their children. When they come to my classroom and they want to learn to play an instrument and they're interested in playing that instrument, the recorder is the beginning of all wind instruments. Once they learn to play the recorder, they can go to any wind instrument. Any instrument they have to put their mouth and blow air into, they can go to that. What parents should be doing, despite the fact that that sounds so bad to their ear, they should not say to the child, stop playing. They should say, oh, play that, Johnny. Play it one more time. That is the best encouragement a parent can give a child. But if you say the adverse thing like, man, that sounds bad, put it away, the child will never, you actually crushes the child's spirit for learning to play an instrument.
Okay, so you're telling me that parents really ought to be motivators.
Yes.
And so if the children have to be disciplined, then they have to encourage that discipline to
Correct,
occur.
yes.
Okay, and then it takes time, so they have to encourage them to take that time as well.
They could even set aside a special room in the house where the child can study, because the child has to also, while learning, he also learns speed of the song. He also learns loudness and softness, different degrees of loudness and softness, so the child would know what to do. In fact, the teacher instructs, do not play loud so you do not irritate your parents.
I hope all of the children are paying attention to that.
Oh, yes.
Now, you would have made mention of a particular instrument that I think everyone within my age and down was forced to play, and that was the recorder.
Yes.
Now, I remember Three Blind Mice. Three Blind Mice. I was irritated as a child playing that Three Blind Mice with that recorder. But you said that really sets the foundation for any woodwind instrument.
Correct.
Now, what I really want to know is that the main instrument that you encourage students to learn?
Yes, at school,
Yes.
it is the recorder. That's the instrument that they learn, but they also have an instrument that God gave them, which is their voice. So by teaching them how to sing, and to sing on pitch, then they could take the recorder and mimic the sound. They could read the notes, and they can mimic the sound on the recorder. So first, teaching them how to sing, letting them sing the song in their minds while they're playing the recorder is the best way, I've discovered.
Okay, so that is the instrument then that you recommend all people to start off with, but why?
That instrument is very simple, and it's like a toy. The child does not see it as an expensive item. They saw it, fight with it. Of course, they get angry when they do that, and they crack them because they just had plastic. But when I'm teaching a new song, they would listen and they'd be in awe. They want to sound just like their teacher.
Yes.
And I try to play the best that I can. And then they'll give me a round of applause. And then when they try, I give them a round of applause. I
Encouragement.
sometimes go into the cupboard and I take out a surprise, which it might be some candies or some little toy that I can give them to reward them. So when they do good in the future, they always say, Mr. Bain, are we going to get a reward? You got an A today.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh, goodness. I think that's a great initiative that you have for the children, even at the school. So those of the parents that are watching, whose children are very much in your music class, just know that you provide the encouragement as well there.
Yes.
Yes, a great environment to have your children to learn in, I think. Right. So we see people who play the piano very well, but do not know how to read music. I think is that sight reading?
They call it air.
Air. Okay, you're playing by the air. So why is it so important to read music in the first place?
Let me tell you. If you learn to play music by note, you'll be a greater musician if you have ear, when you combine the two. If a child learns to play the piano as a child, they will be providing for themselves as adults a comfort. It will also provide for them a source of income. When children go off to college, there's a deficiency in persons who play. Their churches don't have anyone to play the organ and the piano. They have it there, but no one is there to play it. So when the children go to school, abroad to college, or even right on the island here, it provides a source of income. So if they can play by note, it's a greater advantage than when they can just play by ear. When you learn to play by note, you can play the music out as written, and then you can put yourself, make it your combination. You see that?
Yeah, I see that. That's right. We are running out of time, but we have to take this break. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned. We will be right back with Brother Nelson Bain.
Seventh-day Adventist education is an opportunity for our children. The Lord had in mind a great plan to take our children to heaven. And Christian education is part of that plan. You know, Christian education means salvation, because every Adventist teacher, every Seventh-day Adventist school is involved in saving our kids. Are you an Adventist pastor? It's your responsibility to inspire your children, the children in your church, to go to our schools, to our universities. Are you a church leader? You have the same opportunity. You are called to support them, to help them, to inspire them to study in our institutions. Are you a father or a mother? Well, the Lord has you in order to take your children to heaven. And Christian education is part of that, of those resources left for you. Every one of our children should be in our schools. That should be our motto. That should be our goal, and the Lord will help us to achieve it. May the Lord bless you as pastor, as church member, as parent, and bless through you all the church children.
Welcome back to Voices. I'm your hostess, Siobhan Sherman, and today we have been having such an educational discussion on music with Brother Nelson Bain. Now, Brother Bain, we would have ended before the break with you really encouraging parents to let their children play instruments because it also brings a financial benefit. Now, it seems as though you have a lot of wisdom within you. And you have a lot of roles, I'm told, within the South Bahamas Conference. And so what are some of these roles that you do have within your church and your school?
You know, adults are just like children. When they decide to come to the choir, there's no qualification necessary. They just have to have an interest. They don't have to have the greatest voice. God's Holy Spirit fills them, and when they sing, that's all God asks, make a joyful noise. And that's what we do. You know, the children at Bahamas Academy, people may come and they may ask for a group to come from the elementary division. If they ask for a group, they're going to get grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to avalanche their church because the entire school is the school choir.
Wow.
The entire school. So, whenever Bahamas Academy is going to be invited out, you have to prepare for that. The entire school is coming. Now, while working through these children, you may have over 200 children or 300 children at school. You will find a special voice. That voice will stick out. The voice might be in drama. It is my responsibility to use my ear and to pick that child out. There was a particular child by the name of Lavanda Brown. She was in drama all her days. And one evening I was trying to teach a little boy how to sing a certain part. And she said, no, it doesn't go like that. It goes like this. And that was the wrong thing she could have done. And when she said that, I said, I am taking you out of drama and you're coming to music, you're coming to choir. And so when she came to choir, I started preparing her for the National Arts Festival. And the first time we went, we came hot last. The contestants were not very nice with her. They laughed at her and everything. But I promised her the next time we go, we're going to come first. And that is exactly what happened. And today she's a classical singer. In regards to the other activities of the church, I just love, that is what the Lord drew me to when he called me out of the world. He wanted me to do music because I have done nothing else but music all my life in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And so if there's a crusade, I might not do Bible work, but my responsibility of having that choir fill every night is my responsibility. And so I will do anything to motivate them. If they're tired, I motivate them. I give, it's like a coach with his basketball team just before they go out. He motivates them. He brings in persons to motivate them. And so I bring in my own motivation. I watch and I see where they're getting tired, but I keep pushing. And they push me too.
And you know, Brother Bain, I'm glad that you put it that way, you know, as a sport. Because I think some people take choirs for granted, frankly. It takes a lot of time, as you said, to train those voices, to harmonize, and for people to remember the lyrics to the songs and when to come in, the different cues. And you do a lot of work.
Yes, ma'am.
And so working with the choir, and then you're working with both choirs. So you're saying in your church as well as at the school, which is the entire school.
That's correct.
Oh my goodness. And not only do you teach singing, you're teaching instruments to these students as well.
Stage presence, etc.
Oh my goodness. This is a lot when it comes to music.
But guess what? It is fun. I don't work, I have fun. This is my first calling. I wanted to be a teacher, but I went and I did something else. And this is the most wonderful experience I'm having in my life, to end my working career doing what I really wanted to do, to be a teacher.
Well, that is a moment for us to both say, bless the Lord.
Praise the Lord, yes.
So, Brother Bain, you would have made, I really just wanted to give God thanks too for that student that you had. You said Sister Brown?
Yes, Lavanda Brown.
Lavanda Brown. And so she's an example of Adventist education, Adventist music education.
Correct.
Yes, so that means that there is hope for musicians within our church.
Yes.
And a great training ground, as I want to point out again, is at one and all of our educational institutions.
Correct.
Yes, wonderful.
I just want to put a little plug in here for.
Certainly.
There was a time in 1982, there were 3 girls, Leslie Musgrove, Carol Dossett, and Paula Musgrove. Those 3 girls. I took them apart and I coached them. They turned out to be very good too. I don't know if you remember Leslie from Freeport. Leslie Musgrove.
Yes.
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 She was the first soprano. I don't know if she kept practicing, but Carol and Paula continued on, and they are very good.
So we have seen that there are a number of young people who are very good at playing an instrument, but are reluctant or shy to use their talents in church. Now, we both know that is very true. So what advice would you give to these types of young people?
Do you remember earlier we said that the parents have to push these kids? Now, they didn't do a good job when the child was learning to play the instrument. That is why the child is shy. But if the parents were pushing these children and making opportunity for them to play, whether it's at Sabbath school, AY, or an item in church, that is what the responsibility of also the responsibility of the music coordinator, to find these talents and to help grow these talents. A child who is shy just have to be motivated at one time to overcome that shyness. Give them an opportunity for them to bloom.
Okay, so you're encouraging us to really have our parents encourage us.
Yes, there's not like parental encouragement. There's nothing like that. When the child performs, they may make a little blunder. Of course, take that child out, blow balloons, buy ice cream, and encourage that child. The next time, they will do better. You'll see them taking diligence and going to the piano and practicing, or you'll hear them singing in the bathroom, or you'll hear them taking their recorder and blowing it. That will show you that they are very interested in that instrument.
Now, Brother Bain, I think it's easier to get children to be more involved and get over the shy aspect. But when it comes to youth, I think it's even more difficult sometimes. So what are some of the factors that you think play? What better improves the chances of getting someone that's a little bit younger than I am or around my age to come out and break out of that shy mentality?
There's a group of young people called the Pathfinders. They have a band. If they're shy to play by themselves, they can join the Pathfinders band and they can learn to play with other persons who have the same instrument. If they play the clarinet, they join the clarinet group. If they play the French horn, you join the French horn group. If they play whatever instruments they have that can fit into the Pathfinders band, that's the place to go. And they will certainly soon be rid of that shyness.
And I just want to put it out there as well, that there is a place for triangle players as well.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I remember thinking how insignificant that was. But whenever I ting, 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 I felt very important as a child.
Oh, yes. I agree with that. When I give the children the triangle play, oh, everyone want to play the triangle. They just want to hold that and just give that little cue in there.
Yes.
Yes. All of the instruments are important.
Yes. Yes, so you don't have to be a drum player or a saxophonist or a clarinet player all the time.
Correct.
But we can't start off with the recorder.
Well, most times kids like to go to the drums because that's noisy, and then it's the trumpet. Those are the two popular ones for the boys.
For the boys. So anything in particular for the females?
Well, what I've seen in most of the bands and orchestras, they play the violin, girls, and then they play the clarinet.
How elegant and
yes,
dainty.
and then also they play the flute and the piccolo. It seems like the higher the pitch, the more feminine the instrument.
Well, last but certainly not least, I want you to please just give a final word to our parents about the advantages in learning, or rather in supporting their children in learning an instrument or being involved in a music program on the whole.
Parents, if you want a child to learn an instrument, Bahamas Academy is there. They will be loved, they will be encouraged, they will learn to sing, they will learn to play the recorder. If they are in upper class instruments like the trumpet, Mr. Simpson at the secondary school is more than willing to take the child and teach the child. I'm speaking on his behalf, and I hope he accepts that. Also, our children not only learn to do just the instruments, they will learn how to also have stage presence. When they stand on the stage, they will play with confidence. They will pick up their instruments because they will be playing for God, and man will take the benefit from their playing.
Thank you so much for that, Brother Bain. I do believe that we have learned a lot during such a short but well-spent time together, and I do hope to see you again.
It was my pleasure being with you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If by chance you missed a part of this wonderful production, we are on YouTube, so you can go search for us. But this has been a televised production of the Atlantic Caribbean Union of Seventh-day Adventists, proudly representing the islands of the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and Turks and Caicos Islands. Let our voices and our wind instruments be used for the Lord. Until next time, thank you for watching.
You know, I had an experience in college. You know, that time when it's crunch time and all the work is on your shoulders and you're trying to figure out how you can get all this done in time. You know, after thinking about it after a while, I went to a friend. And you know what he told me? He said, you know, pray. You know, ask God for help. I'm sure He's willing and ready to help you in your situation. So I took his advice. I prayed. And you know, as I prayed, I thought of a scripture text. Luke chapter 18, verse 1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men always ought to pray and not to faint. You know, Jesus is saying, in other words, when we pray, don't lose heart. You know, and after that prayer, I struggled a bit, but I kept on going. I didn't lose heart. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're faced with, Jesus is willing and ready to help you with any situation. Remember, pray and don't lose heart.